Strike action has been taken by teachers here in Mallorca, and very kindly been joined this morning by Josie.
Hello.
And Thomas.
Hello.
Who are teachers here in Mallorca. They're a bit nervous this morning, but don't worry, guys. We're not going to bite you. I've been quite vocal about this over the last week, I know, and I've been on Facebook and everything else because I'm not very happy, but I wanted to get the teachers' view and why there was, why teachers were going on strike and everything else. So, first of all, if you can just sort of tell us what the reasons are that you're going on strike.
Okay, mainly there's probably three main reasons. One is that we're striking against this TIL project, which has been put out by the government. Another one is all about all the cutbacks that have happened, like oversized classes, no support in the classroom anymore. They reduced the grants for school dinners and for transports. And then thirdly, it's also over the treatment of the 3 Menorcan head teachers who were fired because they didn't agree to do this TIL project.
Okay, and if you could just describe to people what the TIL project is all about, and then we can sort of come on to other things later.
The TIL project, they want to do the education in Spanish, English, and Catalan.
Yeah.
The same way.
Okay.
And we think it's a good thing, but not the way they want to implant it.
Okay, am I right in saying that the implantation of it is actually too quick? Is that the reason? Is that
no training? The teachers have had no training. You have to have a level B2 to be able to teach these subjects in English. Yeah, B2 is basically the equivalent of an O-level English. So no teachers feel comfortable teaching a subject matter in a language they don't even feel comfortable speaking themselves, so let alone how can they teach children in this language. The teachers don't feel prepared, and they've been offered no training at all from the government. They've just been told to do it. Okay,
so let me get this right. So you're for the actual trilingualism and everything else. The problem is the implementation of the actual trilingualism, in your opinion, isn't right from the government. Is that correct?
Correct.
So, yeah, you need 5 years to prepare teachers and students, because students are not prepared to do maths in English, for example.
Okay.
Or natural science.
But let me just put this to you then. If we're going to go forward with this, in reality, we're not going to get 5 years to be able to give you the proper English to be taught. That's not going to happen in any way, shape or form. So you've got to be able to get it in quicker in order, obviously, for it to be done. Correct?
Yeah.
So could you not then maybe use the teachers that we know are fluent in English or are comfortable with English? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's not enough teachers though. And now basically all schools have to do this too, and it depends on the staff they have in their school. So some schools can do it in all the subjects that they've been told to teach in English. Other schools don't have the teachers, and that school won't do it. It's not all the same all over the island. It depends on the school and the level of English the teachers have within that school.
Okay, so, and at the moment you're saying there's no compromise from a governmental point of view to actually be able to bring this in.
No, and they didn't contact any of the school union, any of the teachers' unions, any teachers, any kind of educational institute. They just made this law without having discussed it with anyone. It was like their idea.
Okay, and when was the law made?
Last year.
Last year, yeah.
And the High Court said that it wasn't possible to do it because it was something unreal. Mm-hmm. And after 2 hours of the decision of the High Court, they prepared a new law, but it was already prepared. So we have to do it.
Yeah, last Friday, basically at 11:30, it was ruled that TIL couldn't happen because it was a crazy idea. So we were all really happy as teachers. Then about 1:30, it's back on again because then they made this law so that we had to do it. They made a new law.
Okay, so it was brought in last year, the law. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think what annoys parents and everything else is what's happened is that we've broken up for school at the middle of June. We've now 3 months holidays and everything else. 1 week before we're due to go back, there's a strike ballot amongst all the teachers to say, are we going to go on strike? And they say yes. And for me, as a parent, I find that unbelievable that you're allowed to do that, because I don't think it's fair on the children. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, you're a teacher, and I get your point of view. But from a parent's point of view, and from the child particularly, not me, it's the child, because there's a child that's getting put out here. Do you see what I mean?
100%, I agree with you 100%. But then the reason why we've had to do it now is because we need the impact. In the summer holidays, we couldn't strike. We wouldn't have the same impact as we would have now. Also, I understand what you're saying, but wouldn't you rather your child be taught well?
Well,
you don't want to teach them badly.
Don't get me wrong. My child goes to a Spanish state school. So I have no problems with my child being taught in Spanish state school, and he's been taught fantastically well. He now speaks Spanish, English, and Catalan. Yeah. He's 7 years old. Yeah, I think that's great. My point is that why did it take 3 months? I understand what you do. You're trying to cause maximum impact against the government. But listen, in the summertime, I would have said, why don't you get all the parents, all the teachers, all the kids, everybody together and go and hold a mass rally in Parliament and show the government how everybody's against this? Why didn't you do that?
There were talks over the summer. The government didn't want to listen.
No, but I'm not talking about listening to the government. I'm just saying, you just get everybody together and say, listen, guys, we're all against this. If you support us, come and support us and show the government our strength against this.
But it would not have had the same impact that this will have today. And half the people aren't here, the kids aren't here.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
it doesn't affect them as much.
But what I'm trying to say is that why not try it? If you're saying it wouldn't have the effect, I'm sure it would, and I would understand it more than I'm understanding it now, because what I'm understanding now is that a week before you're due to go back to school, you go on strike. Do you see what I mean? You've got to look at it from the parents' point of view as well as your own, and I get your point of view. I do get it, and I understand it a lot more now, talking to you for the last 5 minutes, than I have done over the last thing. And I think a lot of this, for parents out there, particularly English parents, and I've been accused of, well, if you don't like the Spanish system, go back to England. I don't want to go back to England. I live my life here. I've lived here for 23 years. I was married here, my kids are brought up here, and I love the life here. So that's not about me being English and in a Spanish thing, because I send my kid to Spanish school. What I'm worried about is it's the kids that are suffering here. And it's the kids that are, not getting taught in schools at the moment. They've gone back to school on Friday. Why didn't you strike on Friday? Why wasn't the strike on Friday?
Because it wasn't possible.
Why wasn't it possible? But it's okay on Monday.
It's all about Spanish bureaucracy. You need to say it 10 days in advance, so it wasn't time enough to say it, because everything went really quick. Every day we had assemblies, every day we had reunions, because the government was doing just what they want.
I understand, but
they don't count on us, on the teachers, and not in the families. Mm-hmm. And if you make a new educational law, it's all about families, because they have the children, and teachers and the government, and they are doing laws on their own. That's the problem.
I understand, but you said to me it was like 10 days. You've got to have 10 days before you can strike. But if you knew that, why didn't you do it 10 days before, so the Friday they could go on strike? Because I think it's unfair on the kids to send them back to school on the Friday. They meet their new teacher, they meet all their new school friends and everything else, and all of a sudden on the Monday, that's changed, and that's put them way out. I understand this is it's a thing for you, and you've got to show your strength here. I do get it, but I'm just trying to think of better ways that it could have been done. Put it like that.
No, you're totally right. Sure. But the government never listened to the teachers. Not in the summer, not in the winter. So it's the families have to complain in the Conselleria, because they are doing this law on their own. That's the problem. That they are not.
And it will affect your children in the long run a lot worse than the strike.
really in a really bad way. Because
all right.
There can be up to 35 students in a class without any kind of help. If there are special needs students in this class, so you are teaching there on your own. And they cut off all of the grants for dinner schools, for transport, and this is what they don't say. The government only say, they are doing a strike because they don't want more English in the classroom. This is not real. We really want more English and more Spanish, but in a proper way.
I get it, and I think on the opposite side of that, I think the country's in a bit of a mess at the minute, and that's no fault of your own. Do you know what I mean? That's no fault of it's everybody can blame it on previous governments and everything else, but we're in the position we're in, and if this carries on like this, everything's gonna suffer, because people will say, well, listen, there's 5 million unemployed in Spain at the moment. Everybody needs a job. Everybody wants a job, and I don't think this is going to help in any way, shape or form. I understand you've got to do something to show your strength, but it's not right for me.
Don't you think the country will get better if there's good education?
But I think there's great education at the moment. That's what I'm saying. I think there is.
Not with this project. It's going to be really bad.
Listen, I have Spanish friends, who think my kids are the luckiest kids in the world, and probably yours as well, because at school they learn Catalan, they learn Castilian Spanish, and at home they speak English. And I've got Catalan friends that think our kids are the luckiest because they get those three languages, and they'd really like to speak English. So, is this a case against the fact that they're trying to sort of get rid of Catalan? That's the government's thought. It's not getting rid of Catalan. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's trying to bring in more English, and everybody's saying, well, no, we want to uphold the Catalan thing and everything else, which I don't have a problem with. Don't get me wrong, because on my side, I get it anyway. I'm looking at the Spanish side of things, because Catalan being taught in Spanish, in schools, where else are they going to use this Catalan? They're going to use it here in Mallorca, and they're going to go to Barcelona and use it. But apart from that, it doesn't get, you don't talk it anywhere else. Castilian Spanish all over the world, English all over the world. I think we've got to sometimes think about other things as well. Did you see what I'm saying?
No, totally. Everybody's in agreement to have the 3 languages, like the same. That's not been.
No, that's
the
not the
strike's
point.
not about getting rid of having more hours in Spanish. It's not. It's basically it's just the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's a really good idea. We're all for it. It's amazing. The kids will be trilingual. I mean, every parent would want that for their child, but it's the way they're doing it. You can't do this way without any training, any experience, nothing. It's just.
Yeah,
like,
teachers are not prepared, and neither
and
are
they don't
students.
feel prepared.
No, not at all. And they just, it's all about marketing. They sell you are going to have more English. Everybody wants more English because it's really important. But they don't say what's behind all the cuts. And they fired 800 teachers last year. Exactly the number of teachers you need to do
This project.
in a proper way. So they talk about excellence in education, but we can't give it because we are not Superman or super teachers. We are one person in one class with 30 students with special needs, and you do your best, but sometimes it's not enough. You need someone else in the class. So all of this extra help is gone.
Because of this
Absolutely
project.
gone. But they don't tell it. And you parents, you don't know it.
No, but I think that's also the other thing. The information that we've got isn't the right information, or not the full information. But that hasn't that's come from the school as well as the government,
But
if that
then
makes
the parents
sense.
should go to the government and say why they've only sent a letter out now on the 12th of September to your parents, the government, the Consellia, explaining the till. That's come out on the 12th of September. They should have sent this out at the end of last term or sometime in last term, because now they see the parents are complaining, so suddenly they've written this letter and they've sent it out to try to explain to your parents what it is about.
Right.
Yeah.
But selling it in a good way. Oh, it's amazing. It's the best project. I'm not saying, but actually, no, none of the teachers are trained. None of the teachers want to do it. None of the teachers feel they can do it. I mean, obviously, they're not telling you all that, which we're trying to tell you. You know?
The fact is that around 90% of the teachers want to go to strike. It's not that you like the government or not. It's that they want. We know how to do our work because we are every day in the class with the children, and we know that this law is just something stupid. It's not going to work.
But now then, we've been told also that this is like an indefinite strike. Okay, so how does this sort of what happens now then? Does this mean that you're on strike tomorrow? You're on strike Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Okay,
Well, not Saturday.
It's become even worse now. Okay, so we can choose the amount of days that we can strike. Yeah, because I mean I can't afford to strike more than the days I'm going to strike because they literally take your double wage. We lose a lot of money striking. Yeah. But now, because there's 90% of the teaching staff are going to strike, then they've made this law that 30% of staff have to stay in schools now. So this will mean that the strike will probably last longer, because now we're kind of on a rota system of our days, because 30% has to be at school.
Right, got it.
So that means it will go on longer, whereas before, probably most teachers could only have done 3 or 4, or maximum 5 days.
So let me get this right then. So you're not being paid when you're on strike?
No, we lose double pay.
When you say you lose double pay, how do you
For
lose double
example, if I
pay?
strike for 10 days, I've lost my whole month's wage.
Okay.
So they take a lot more money than you would normally be paid.
All right. So, all right then. So how's this going to get resolved then?
Well, hopefully they're going to take the project away, no? Or at least do make some major changes.
Something intermediate, at least. But they don't listen to the educational community. That's the problem. They are just doing the way they want, and this is it. And if you don't like it, fire it out. So this is democracy, what they call democracy nowadays.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just trying to, trying to find a reason to sort of. Are you getting back around the table? Are the unions and the government getting back around the table today, for instance? Is that happening, or
today at 12 o'clock there's a demonstration in the Costa del Mar by La Lonja in Palma. So hopefully, because of this, what will happen today, hopefully then something will happen this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I'm sure the unions have been trying to speak to the government, and they just don't want to talk. They're not answering any questions. They're not coming to any of the meetings. There was a meeting last week. They didn't appear. Everybody else was there, the teachers union, but the government weren't there. They didn't come.
The Fathers Association too. Yeah,
The Parents
they didn't
Association were
They
there.
didn't go to the meeting. They don't want to talk. This is the way it is, and if you don't like it, then it's your problem.
This is why we've had to take this, this kind of action, because they have to listen to us. They can't not give us any answers or not get involved with what we're trying to say.
Yeah, it's not my way or your way. It has to be something in common. But they don't want to talk, and they are really extremist with their point of view.
But if you, I'm trying to look at it from their point of view now, okay, and they're saying that and you're agreeing with the fact that it's actually a good thing and everything else. So is is the whole of the union behind the fact that you want it all taken away, or you want some sort of a compromise here?
No, we want it done in the right way. We all want it. Like I say, it's an amazing idea, but it's not been done properly. You can't do this like that. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's like saying to me, I have to, because I speak French. Yeah, I speak French. That it's like if they told me now, actually, you know what? You have to teach social science and French to year 5. Well, I would not feel comfortable doing that at all. And also, then the children will suffer, because if the teacher's not confident in what she's teaching, how can she, transpire that onto the children that she's teaching?
The fact that the High Court stopped all of it says something.
Yeah.
But after 2 hours, they restarted again. Like, you have to do it because we want, and this is not the way. They didn't ask to the teachers, never.
No
and
opinion.
we are in this classroom every day. They don't care.
There's set offices where we're actually the ones who are the hands-on doing the job, so we know how it works.
So, to sort of come to a finish for all this, what is the answer? What is the answer? Because obviously there's other things involved in what you've just talked about. It's not just about the trilingualism. There's obviously the cuts in education, the sacking of the guys in Mallorca. Do you know what I mean? There's other things involved here. And I think, we're all adults at the end of the day. Someone's got to take the bull by the horns and say, right, listen, come on, let's get this sorted out. Because at the end of the day, it's guys like this little man sat here with me this morning, doesn't get his school. He's playing on his phone. Eh? That's not good education, as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what I mean? It's, we got to get this sorted, because this is a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, the solution
it's the future
is just
of the country.
Conversation and agreement. Not to impose an idea and a law, and we have to do it because we want. No, we have something to say. We are the workers who are with the teachers. The families have something to say, because education is also in the families. And this is what we want, to talk. But they don't want to talk.
Okay. And if you were in their position, what would you do?
Well, of course, if I would never think to make a decision like that without talking to the people who are involved in it to get there. They're the only people that can give you the intelligent feedback, because they're the ones doing the job. Definitely. Can I quickly just say there's ways that you guys can help as parents that maybe you don't know about? So if you're sending your kids to school these days when the strike is on, which is totally fine, it's your decision, as a protest about all these cuts, if you could put your kids dressed in green clothing, that's like, saying that you're against all these cuts and will help us.
That you support. Quality public education.
You want a quality public education for your child. And then, even when the strike is finished, every Wednesday, we all go in with our green T-shirts on. So you could send your kids to school with green. If you really want to help, you can collect signatures, against all these cuts in the education system, and send them to the government. And also you can hang green from the balcony. They're doing that as well, no? Just like a green sheet.
This signature thing, for sure, the Fathers Association from your school
would have done this already.
They know it, because they are all of them against the law too.
All the parent-teacher associations and all the teachers, 90% of all of them are against this.
Okay, when you say that, when you did the vote, did everybody vote? That's the we're to say 90%, but did they all vote at the same? Do you know what I'm saying? So was the turnout the same as the actual vote itself? So of the 100% of teachers, how many actually did vote? Was it 100%? Was it 50%? Do you see what I mean? Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
All of them, no?
In our school, it was all of them.
Yeah,
okay.
100% in our school, but I have friends in other schools, and the numbers are very similar. 80, 90, 100.
Yeah, percentage. It's
which
really
is
high.
Something serious.
So obviously,
it's not 40 or 50. No, it's the big majority.
Okay, listen, guys. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
having us.
I hope I haven't been too rough on you.
No, but also this is something you could talk about for hours and hours.
No,
Totally.
Totally. Thanks for giving up your time. Listen, I hope it gets resolved very, very quickly, because it's good for us, it's good for the kids, more importantly, and you guys, I suppose, as well.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks for coming in, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.